According to a recent study by the World Health Organization, about 150,000 children are born yearly with a sickle cell disorder. Today on Sound Health, our focus is on managing sickle cell anemia. I'm Olatunbo Modukwe, and it's so good to have you on the show. Please stay with us. The program continues shortly.
Maureen Nwachi is a 33-year-old SS patient who has been living with a sickle cell condition. Like every other person living with a severe hereditary blood disorder, she's given life a chance with simple health tips.
Becomes better with age. As we all grow older, we know what to do, we get better at taking care of ourselves, knowing what to avoid, knowing how much we can do, how much we can take in per time. So basically, that's it. I've been able to take better care of myself, understand my body system, know what works for me and how it works for me. And so with that, I've been doing fine. I've been doing awesome.
It is a severe hereditary form of anemia in which a mutated form of hemoglobin distorts the red blood cells into a crescent shape at low oxygen levels. When a sickle cell patient suffers an attack or crisis, as it is known and referred to, the patient goes through excruciating pains, which moves all over the joints and uncontrollable.
Often, once in a while, even though sometimes it takes longer for different people, it's not something, it doesn't have a timetable. There's no timetable to it. So when the crisis comes, you just have to maybe think back and ask yourself, what did I do wrong or what did I miss? Sometimes it could be as a result of fever, infections, cold, stress. It could be anything. So that's why we advise you take it one day at a time. You understand your body system so you don't fall sick often. So I've I rarely fall ill. I rarely have the crisis because I know when, if for instance, I know my crisis triggers are things like cold, extreme cold. So I know sometimes maybe I need to use my stockings. I need to wear extra layers of clothing or sweaters. I don't try bathing with cold water all the time. So basically, things like that help. Knowing you, that's all that matters.
Majority of sickle cell cases occur in Africa.
When there is a genetic disorder, that can be a mutation, so many types of mutation, deletion, frame shifts, and all sorts of disorders that can affect this gene in the human genome that affects the production of the hemoglobin. It can either be of one type. It can affect the structure of the substance, or we can affect the number that is produced. When it affects the structure, you have something like sickle cell disease. When it affects the number, you have thalassemia. Since sickle cell is very common, at times people inherit from the mother's S, and then from the father, a mild form of thalassemia. So the two comes together and gives you sickle cell disease.
A recent WHO report estimated that around 2% of newborns in Nigeria were affected by sickle cell anemia, given a total of 150,000 affected children born every year in Nigeria alone.
It's still Sound Health on Lagos Television, and of course, it's the Sickle Cell Awareness Week. This day was set aside in 2008, but before that time, one woman, aside from living with that condition, has been managing the condition and of course propagating that cause. She's no other person than Toyin Adeshola. Welcome to the program, madam.
Thank you for having me.
So far, so good. Looking at the past 20, 30 years, you've started this campaign. What has been your fighting spirit?
I think the first important thing is in life you should find your purpose. Okay. A lot of us don't know what we are here to do, and once we find that, the passion comes. There's passion, there's vision, and then you just know that regardless of whether things don't turn out right, because you know that's your purpose, that's what God has given you to do, you push on to achieve whatever you're supposed to do, regardless of the challenges that before you.
Okay, it's been more than 50 years now.
Yeah.
How did you take the news when you got to know that you're living with the condition?
Initially, when you're young, you just like, oh, okay, what is this? The only difference I saw at that point in time, before the major complications started happening, was that I was in the hospital on a regular basis, and they will always prick me. They were looking for vein and everything, and that part was really frustrating, because even in my primary school, I was always not absent from class. Or when exams, I was either second to last or last. Not because I wasn't intelligent, but because most of the times I wasn't in school, so I couldn't remember half of what was being taught anyway. So it was a real challenge growing up living with sickle cell, because the pain, the hospital admissions, and then that family separation in a sense was really challenging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking at this month, it's the awareness month.
Yeah.
Would you say, despite this day was set aside in 2008, would you say the level of awareness has increased?
Maybe in the urban areas like Lagos, it's increased a bit, but like I always tell people, there's awareness and there's awareness. Sometimes the awareness is skewed. People still don't understand the perception of what sickle cell is all about. And in the bid to say, okay, you don't marry AS, you now create a stigma, with the people with sickle cell. But it doesn't mean that the people with sickle cell have something terrible, that they cannot achieve anything. There are many people, lawyers, doctors, all living healthy and fine with sickle cell. So the awareness is a bit skewed, and we're trying to get that back on course so that we will break the stigma, because stigmatization is a major issue we face living with sickle cell.
I know in advanced countries, when newborns are delivered immediately, they can predict or test if this person is living with a disorder. Your platform is into advocacy and management, advocacy to be precise. Nice. But how have you been able to, make sure this fit is being followed through? We need newborn screening. For the past 5 years, we've been screaming that newborn screening. The challenge with newborn screening is that no single NGO can achieve that. We as NGOs cannot do it on our own because of the broad spectrum of how Nigeria is. There are a lot of population, 170 million. So it's a government thing that can be initiated and maybe run by NGOs. And we've been trying to get government, because Ghana has it. We don't have it. There have been attempts by different state governments to achieve that, but mismanagement and other issues comes with technical know-how and all that. So it's really a challenge trying to push. Even this year, we were talking to the Lagos government about the issue of having a new, let's start with Lagos. Even if you don't have it everywhere, let's start with one state. And we just hope that they will finally hear. It's very expensive. Unfortunately, the equipment. Is it just about the financial capability or just the technical know-how?
Technical know-how and then the financial capability to buy the equipment. It's not something that can be easily achieved. So with that, because you don't want to make, even right now for ordinary genotypes, when people are going to labs to do genotype, there's always a mistake, and you're giving the wrong genotype, and then you marry and find out you have a child with sickle cell. So you can imagine for newborn screening, you don't want to, you need that technical know-how to be able to read results better, and it's a way of also, apart from testing the child, you already have a data to really know how many people are living with sickle cell.
With that, are you saying we don't have an apt system or technique to check or to confirm if someone is truly living with the condition?
No, we don't have. We really don't have. The only
So how did you know?
Well, the thing about sickle cell, it starts manifesting about 18 months, some later, So that's how people really know whether you have sickle cell. Unfortunately, sometimes it's too late to start giving them treatment, because if you know early enough, there are certain treatments you can do to reduce the risk, because a lot of people die before they are 5. A lot of people living with sickle cell. Babies, yes, organization, yes.
32% of newborns.
Exactly, die before there. So it's even 25%. So it's a challenge trying to know early enough so that you can prevent multiple challenges, infection and all that. So the people do know, but sometimes it's a bit late.
Okay. So what's the way forward in all of this?
I think the way forward really is for government, for private organizations, and even for non-profit organizations, NGOs like us, to come together and structure a health policy that is towards sickle cell disorder. Because we are the largest in the world, there should be a structured health policy that will follow, from newborn screening to even genotype testing, to even management, because a lot of doctors don't know how to manage people with sickle cell. And that's why we lose a lot of them, because they don't know the difference between acute chest syndrome and pneumonia or anything.
So what about the hematologists? Are they in charge of that?
Well, hematologists are limited. They are in charge of it, but really, when you go to a general hospital or any hospital, it's not always hematologists you see. That's the challenge. You see a regular general doctor. Exactly. So it's only maybe in special case they may call a hematologist consultant, but how many of them are there? And healthcare in this country is very expensive. So a lot of people just go to the nearest, quote unquote, either private or public hospital they can manage to see somebody.
Studies have shown that there are no treatment for the condition. Aside from blood transfusion, rehydration, intravenous fluids, are there other tips or ways to manage the condition?
There are certain medications that we are supposed to take on a regular basis, and it's very important we take those medications, because that's what helps us. Because one, we have anemia issues, so there are tablets that help us to maintain our blood level, and then we have malaria issues, so we should take malaria prophylaxis to help us not to get malaria.
But how often?
Every day.
Wow.
Every single day. Although some of us miss it, but at least when you are young, when you grow older, you know how to manage yourself. But at least for children, it's very important, because they are the ones who are more susceptible to getting infections and things like that. Apart from that, there are treatments that reduce the number of crises. There are tablets and the medications that reduce the number of crises that you have, because they help with your what they call fetal hemoglobin. So that helps in reducing the number of crises. And when you reduce the number of crises you have, you reduce the number of complications that you can have. So there are some medicines, and then of course there's a cure, which is unfortunately marrow transplant, which is unfortunately not accessible to everyone. First of all, you have to find a match with your sibling, and then after the match, you now have to go through surgery and hope that your body doesn't reject the bone marrow, and take medications that would stop your body rejecting them.
So what's the success rate of bone marrow transplant? And why would a doctor wait till you maybe till the end of the surgery to find out if truly it matches your
Well,
system?
that's the only way. It's like even when you do heart transplants and kidney transplants, your body rejects certain organs that are not yours. The same with bone marrow. So it's only when they do it
After the whole procedure.
But there is quite a high rate of success now with improved medical and
advancements.
I gather that even Lagos State is looking into starting something like that.
Okay.
So there's a new advancement now where they don't even take from sibling, they take from the person themselves, and we regenerate and we do the DNA and put it back. Okay. So that stops the rejection process. Okay. So scientifically things are advancing, but I always say that just maintain your health, eat healthy, reduce the number of carbohydrates, because carbohydrates turn into sugar, and sugar is not good for our body. It causes inflammation and all that. Okay. And vegetables is very important, protein is very important. People always think, okay, it's only medicine, but basic
healthy
lifestyle. You rest well. Know when your body is being stressed, and take time to take rest. Because we in a society that even when we say we want to go on a holiday, we are still working.
Do we even go on holidays in
That's why I said,
Nigeria?
even if we ever go on a holiday, we're still working. So we need our body. There's a limit to what our body can take. It's not a robot that you just keep. Even a car breaks down once in a while and you go to the mechanic. The same thing with our body. It needs some rest, and you need to do some things to help the body regenerate.
There are reports that have indicated that there is a timeline for people living with the condition. Some have said 21 years, some have said 2018, but once you've scaled through that age, you're lucky. They call you the lucky one. How true is this?
No, it's not true. Sickle cell is something that affects people in a way that you get better as you manage it. Okay. Whether you are 30 and you don't manage it well, you will die. Whether you are 50 and you don't manage it well, you will pass on. And management not just comes from the point of the person, but from the healthcare professionals and the family. Management in terms of emotional care, because we always put that in the back for now. Feel okay, it's only the physical issues, but the emotional state of the person living with sickle cell is very important. And sometimes when we hear all this, oh, you won't live till 21, it starts affecting your mind and you start believing it. And the mind is very powerful. I always say, I had that to myself, but for me, I had a different mindset, and maybe because of my relationship with God, it made it better, because I always have a positive and a strong willpower. My parents used to call me stubborn. Because I never allowed anything to affect me. They would say, oh, stay at home, don't go to school. But I refused. I did a crash course in WAEC and JAM within 2 years, because I missed school for a long time. And I entered university, and here I am today with a degree. So I think it's a matter of mindset and a matter of the support system you have around you, from your family to your friends to even the church or mosque or wherever you are, wherever you go to, and then to your medical can you have a relationship with the doctor. Unfortunately, we because of the the number of people doctors have to treat, that patient to doctor relationship has reduced. But try and find, because it's very important that the doctor knows every ounce, what is triggering your crisis, how you are feeling emotionally, and all that. It's very important.
How have you been able to manage societal stigma?
For me, I always ignore it. I see it, even with my disability. I see people be looking, some people go, oh yeah, sorry. And I'm like, for what? That's my life, but it doesn't stop me from achieving. I'm sure I'm doing better than you, that are even more able. So I always tell people that ignore the stigma. Yes, it's there, but find people. That's why it's very important to have a strong support group. People that will encourage you, people that will motivate you and love you for who you are. And know that you can achieve anything. So that's what I did with myself. I have a strong support group in my family. I have a strong support group among friends, even in my church. And I have a really strong relationship with my doctor, which I've been having a relationship with him for the past 20 years. People ask me, oh, in a small hospital, go to bigger hospital. I said, no, it's not about the ranks matter of a big hospital. It's about the relationship you have with your medical doctor. So that's very, very important.
Okay. What are your words to people living with the condition, especially parents?
Sickle cell is not a death sentence. It's very important that we understand that people with sickle cell can live well. Once well managed, we can have children, we can marry, we can do a lot of things. So stop the myths, the stigma that, oh, we'll die, and you hear people saying, oh, she's going to die, so don't marry her and all that. No, support your child to every capability, like any other child that you might have. Yes, you might have challenges of going to the hospital and all that, but encourage that child that is not the stumbling block for him to achieve anything.
Okay. You're a source of inspiration to many members of the public, people living with the condition. Yeah. Can you just please tell us a bit about yourself, like a profile?
Okay. I was born 1965. I was born with sickle cell. And as I grew older, when I was in my teenage years, I had a challenge with sickle cell. There was a complication. I was admitted, and there was a wrong blood that was giving me. I started having infections, and then one day I was lying in bed, because I've been in bed for a long time, and the typical thing is for a nurse to turn you over so you don't get bed sores. And next thing, I had a snap, because they hadn't been turning me. So I decided, okay, staying in this position is just too much for me. I had a snap, and I was crying, and then the nurse didn't take me seriously. So it's when my doctor came, my dad came in the evening, now rushed me to the theater, found out my hip was dislocated, separated from a socket. So So I was in plaster of Paris, that's POP, like in trousers for 6 good months. I couldn't move. It was 6 depressing months. Thoughts of why me, the typical why me, because I couldn't go anywhere. I was just lying in bed, and so I now grew. So the only thing I could do was either read or watch television or listen to radio. So those are the things I did, and it helped me become more enlightened, more intellectual in my pursuit. And unfortunately for me, I started having what you call leg ulcer, which is another challenge and complication of what people with sickle cell have. So I had that for different phases of my life, from 9 months to 3 years, and it was very depressing because I had to now continually dress my wound, dress my ulcer, because it refused to heal. So for a point in my life, I was almost suicidal. In fact, I wouldn't try to take my life because I just felt like this thing is, I'm not in school. All my friends have been entered university, I'm almost finished. I had that mindset, but thank God for God. I turned my life around, gave my life to Christ in my university days, because I now said, okay, I'm going to go to university. Nothing is going to stop me. My parents were like, oh no, you'll be sick, it's strong, it's strenuous. And I said, no, I'm going to university. Went to university, completed a BSc in economics at Lagos State University, and I started a business in baking, because through my life of just sitting at home, I became creative. I became a very creative person. I did a baking business for 15 years, and then I wrote a book, which is an autobiography about my life called Still Standing. And through that book, I saw the challenges of other people living with sickle cell, and I realized that, look, yes, you have problems, but other people have worse problems than you. And that's what made me start the NGO Sickle Cell and Management Initiative, which has been focused on helping people through our monthly clinics to live healthy and positive life with sickle cell.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Thank you so much for opening your doors to Lagos Television and the Sound Health crew.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
It's still Sound Health on Lagos Television, and I've been discussing with the Executive Director and the founder, Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative, Sonia Adeshola. She has been sharing with us the management tips for the sickle cell condition. Sound Health continues with trending and home essentials. Please stay with us. On Innovation this week, we showcase researchers' stem cell and bone marrow transplant for sickle cell disorder. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.
Stem cell transplant is a potential cure for sickle cell disease. Stem cells can be found in bone marrow, which is a substance in the center of bones that produces red blood cells. A person with sickle cell disease has bone marrow that produces red blood cells with defective hemoglobin S. But if that bone marrow is replaced with healthy bone marrow, a person's body may start to produce normal hemoglobin. stem cell transplants require bone marrow from a donor. This is called allogenic stem cell transplant. Medical experts say the treatment has been successful in about 85 out of 100 children with about 5% risk failure. A child who has the disease and not more than 16 years is then treated with drugs that destroy his or bone marrow cells. After that, the donated bone marrow stem cells are injected into a vein. After the process is complete, the donor's bone marrow begins to replace the recipient's bone marrow. These new cells restore the immune system and make normal red blood cells.
And that's Sound Health today on Lagos Television. Hope you've learned a few things about sickle cell anemia. For comments and inquiries, please send SMS on 0818-815-3695 or follow us on social media at LTV Social, #SoundHealth. A sound health is a sound mind. Make healthy living your choice.